More forgotten tech. Some gadgets change the world, others disappear, but not because they weren't brilliant. Today we're diving into some forgotten tech and gadgets that were way ahead of their time. This is a video where I decided to do something that no YouTuber has ever done before and make a sequel to a moderately successful video, so some of these are suggestions while others are my own picks. This next video has a bit more of a focus on even earlier tech, particularly from the 90s and earlier 2000s. Technology moves fast, and sometimes being too early is just as bad as being too late. If you invent something groundbreaking, the world might just not be ready for it yet. That's exactly what happened to the devices we're talking about today, so let's rewind and uncover the tech that was ahead of its time before it faded into obscurity. PDAs. Before smartphones took over after the release of the iPhone, there were PDAs. These pocket-sized computers could store contacts, calendars, and even run apps. The Palm Pilot, the Psion Series 5, and other devices had touchscreens, handwriting recognition, and portable computing power. If this sounds familiar, that's because they did absolutely everything that a modern smartphone does, just a decade too early. The main reason they didn't survive was that the internet wasn't widespread, mobile networks were slow, and the idea of an all-in-one handheld device hadn't fully caught on yet. Fast forward to today, and smartphones have perfected what the PDAs once tried to do. Minidisks. Imagine a format that combined the convenience of CDs with the ability to record and rewrite tracks like a USB drive. That's exactly what Sony's Minidisc did when it launched in the early 90s. This is such a 90s future thing, where CDs were still so new that the most advanced thing we could imagine was just smaller CDs. I can remember when I was younger, my dad had just gotten an older car from the 90s and was really excited when the stereo was able to play mini discs. It was just such a rare format to see supported, and there were old mini CDs that he had thought he would never be able to listen to again. Now he could. Mini discs were durable, portable, and had incredible sound quality for the era, but still quickly faded away. In Japan, they were popular for a while, but globally they just couldn't compete. MP3s and digital downloads took over, and suddenly the idea of carrying physical media felt outdated. By the 2000s, mini discs had nearly completely vanished. I'd say it was more just unlucky than a bad format, but they really were just unnecessary in the world of digital downloads. Nintendo Virtual Boy. Virtual reality wasn't invented in the 2010s as you might think. Nintendo was way ahead of the game back in 1995 with the Virtual Boy. It had stereoscopic 3D, a futuristic design, and one major flaw. None of this tech was developed enough to support a practical product. The graphics only came in red and black, the headset caused headaches and motion sickness, and the very few games that were supported on the Virtual Boy felt clunky and underdeveloped. The idea was visionary. Nintendo wanted to create an immersive experience years before VR became mainstream, but the tech just wasn't powerful enough to create something that was in any way practical. It flopped so hard that Nintendo pulled the plug within a year. Now, decades later, when the tech has had the time to be developed to the point of being practical and seamless, gaming VR is a huge industry. Oculus, PSVR, and other systems prove that Nintendo was onto something. Just way too soon. Google Glass. Wearable tech sounds fantastic, but Google tried it back in 2013. A headset with AR features, voice commands, and a tiny screen. What could go wrong? Well, as it happens, quite a lot. The world wasn't really ready for smart glasses. There were major privacy concerns, enormous costs, and the fact that if you wore them in public, you'd look like an absolute spanner. People feared being secretly recorded by Google, and the price tag of $1,500 didn't help much either. Despite its failure, smart glasses are making a comeback as of late. Devices like the Ray-Ban Meta glasses are bringing AR features back into everyday life. Maybe like the Virtual Boy, Google Glass was just too early. We've seen how brilliant ideas can fail simply because the world isn't ready for them, but we all sort of owe these gadgets something for making the tech we use today possible. The PDA paved the way for smartphones, Minidisc lost to digital downloads, the Virtual Boy predicted the current gaming market with VR, and Google Glass may still have a second chance with some tech that we're starting to see develop very recently. Technology evolves fast, and sometimes timing is everything. What other forgotten tech deserves a second chance? Let me know in the comments, and please consider subscribing and following me on Twitter because it really does help small channels like this get a foothold. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.